I hate bullies, thugs who use their strength to push other people around. They think they can achieve power and hang on to it by intimidating others. Sadly, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. And now we have Trump. He's all that, about intimidation, retribution. He's going to prosecute. He's going to send you to jail for having an abortion. He's going to take your Medicare and Social Security away. He's going to deport you. He's going to send the military after you if you defy him. You know who this shit works on? The MAGA politicians who are afraid of losing their power. They're so afraid of him, he's got them kissing his ass. And now they're trying to intimidate us. We will not allow that, not even for a minute, not even for a second. We need to show them our power and vote them all out, every one of them. The way to take down a bully is to look them straight in the eye.
Robert De Niro made such a bold and striking statement that even Melania Trump, who is typically known for her composed and reserved demeanor, might have shown a rare reaction. It remains uncertain whether he disclosed confidential details about Mar-a-Lago or simply voiced an opinion that many people already share. However, one thing is almost guaranteed: Donald Trump is unlikely to take this lightly. His response will probably be swift and filled with outrage, as he has never been one to ignore public criticism, especially from high-profile figures like De Niro. Meanwhile, Fox News is closely monitoring the situation, prepared to analyze and react to the unfolding drama. As for Melania, she may still be processing exactly what was said, either in shock or indifference, as the latest controversy surrounding her husband plays out.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him.
De Niro has never been shy about expressing his disdain for Donald Trump. Whether in interviews, public speeches, or high-profile events, he has consistently launched into fiery tirades against the former president, making it clear that his criticism goes beyond politics. It's personal. However, this time he took aim at someone unexpected: Melania Trump. The moment he shifted his focus to the former First Lady, the entire atmosphere in the room shifted. His remarks caught everyone off guard, and as the audience processed what he had just said, a mix of reactions spread through the crowd. Some were amused, others were visibly shocked, and a few simply sat in stunned silence. The unexpected nature of his words turned an already intense moment into an even more dramatic spectacle, leaving everyone wondering just how far De Niro was willing to go in his relentless criticism of the Trumps.
Yeah, and they didn't allow much access, the way I understand it, to Madoff. With Trump when he's in jail, and that I certainly am looking forward to. When he's in jail, if they give him a platform there, he'll never keep his mouth shut. Madoff, for some reason, they stopped. They didn't. I know that people who interviewed him had very limited access to him, but with Trump, it will be. He's another form of.
Maybe it was just a witty, offhand comment, but it certainly made people pause and reflect. The internet, as expected, wasted no time in picking apart every syllable, analyzing its possible meanings. Within moments, short clips of the moment flooded social media, accompanied by captions like "De Niro just exposed the truth," and "Wait, did he just confirm what we all suspected?" As the clip gained traction, memes exploded across the web. One particularly popular edit depicted Melania trapped in the Truman Show, as if she had just realized she was living in a carefully constructed reality. Another viral post imagined Trump furiously typing "how to revoke someone's citizenship" into a search bar, his frustration practically radiating off the screen. Whether De Niro meant to stir up controversy or was simply cracking a sharp-witted joke, his words took on a life of their own, igniting conversations, speculation, and a fresh wave of internet comedy.
Do you feel like you're in a different space now than you were 8 years ago?
I feel I was always me the first time as well. I just feel that people didn't accept me, maybe. They didn't understand me the way maybe they do now.
She has been stepping out a little bit more publicly in recent months after really being a non-presence during the campaign. She released that memoir, there's that documentary forthcoming, and this morning talking a little bit more on Fox about how she views the role as First Lady. She also talked about how she sometimes might disagree with Donald Trump.
Maybe some people, they see me as just a wife of the president, but I'm standing on my own 2 feet, independent. I have my own thoughts. I have my own yes and no. I don't always agree what my husband is saying or doing, and that's okay.
Are you able to tell him when you disagree?
I gave him my advice, and sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't, and that's okay.
Some saw De Niro's remark as nothing more than a lighthearted joke meant to keep the mood lively and entertain the crowd, but others weren't so sure. To them, his words carried a deeper meaning, perhaps even exposing a truth that had been hiding in plain sight for years. Was Melania simply caught in the chaos of Trump's world, playing the role of the reserved first lady while navigating the turbulence around her? Or was there something more to her story, something the public had only speculated about until now? Whether intentional or not, De Niro's comment ignited a fresh wave of curiosity. It sparked a new discussion, one that left people questioning, speculating, and debating long after the moment had passed. No one had expected such a reaction, but the fact that it took off so quickly proved just how much intrigue still surrounded the former First Lady and her place in the Trump saga.
Robert De Niro had the audacity to compare a Trump presidency to Nazi Germany.
And I think
The audience's real-time reaction, a blend of laughter, shock, and disbelief, made it clear that this Trump joke wasn't just another passing quip. It struck a different chord. As the camera panned across the room, guests exchanged knowing glances and stifled chuckles, caught between amusement and astonishment. Even those who typically kept their composure, seasoned politicians and high-profile figures, seemed to wrestle with the moment, their expressions betraying a thought they likely wouldn't say out loud. I probably shouldn't laugh, but this is actually hilarious. The unexpectedness of the remark only added to its impact. It wasn't just a routine joke, it was the kind that caught people off guard, leaving them unsure whether to laugh openly or pretend they weren't amused. But in that brief moment, as the ripple of reaction spread through the room, it was clear that De Niro had managed to break through even the most serious faces with his razor-sharp humor.
Attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover.
The internet erupted into a heated debate. Some argued that De Niro had crossed the line, taking his criticism too far, while others insisted that anyone associated with Trump was fair game. One user pointed out that Trump, a master of public insults himself, shouldn't be surprised when the same treatment is thrown back at him. Another suggested that De Niro had merely put into words what Melania had been subtly hinting at for years. It quickly became clear that this wasn't just another routine jab at Trump. Whether De Niro meant to or not, he had shifted the spotlight onto Melania, dragging her into the center of an unexpected political firestorm. Now, people were left wondering, would she respond? Would Trump come to her defense? Or would they both choose to stay silent and let the controversy blow over? Of course, many expected Trump to react the way he usually does, with an angry all-caps rant on social media, railing against fake Hollywood elites and condemning the unfair attacks on his wife. The world was watching closely, waiting to see if this latest clash would spark an even bigger spectacle.
Worried about your husband's safety in the next 29 days?
Of course I do. Yes, I do. I think, when they call him, he's a threat to democracy, let's ask ourselves, who is really a threat to democracy? They are ongoing with the lawfare against the former president, as well as, trying to get him off the voting ballots and trying to, silence him. So yes, of course, I was always afraid what can happen, and that they continuing with that kind of language is just, they thought.
Melania Trump has long been known for her unreadable expressions, making it nearly impossible to decipher what she's truly thinking or feeling. But now, people were left wondering, had Robert De Niro finally managed to get a reaction out of her? Had he accomplished what years of online mockery, public scrutiny, and even her husband's endless controversies had failed to do? Make her show real emotion. As expected, the internet went wild with speculation. Some imagine that behind closed doors, she was seething with quiet rage, venting in Slovenian about the fine print in her marriage agreement. Others joke that she hadn't even heard about De Niro's remark yet, lounging comfortably at Mar-a-Lago while Trump furiously shouted at the television, too caught up in his own outrage to inform her. Then there were those who believed she was entirely unfazed, calmly sipping tea and plotting her next business venture while the rest of the world obsessed over her reaction. Whatever the reality, the mystery of Melania's true thoughts only fueled more curiosity. Whether she was angry, indifferent, or simply tired of the never-ending chaos, one thing was certain: De Niro's comment had sparked yet another internet frenzy surrounding the ever-enigmatic former First Lady.
Melania Trump reappeared at Trump's big dollar fundraiser in Florida over the weekend, looking absolutely miserable, looking like she is being held hostage. You have to see this.
Just wanting change. The rich people want it, poor people want it, everybody wants change. Our country is really doing poorly. We're a laughing stock all over the world, and we're going to get that change very quickly. And this has been some incredible evening before.
The suspicions that Melania has been conspicuously missing from the campaign trail for very specific reasons. She doesn't want to be there. It seemed to be borne out by her presence here.
The real question isn't just whether Melania cares, but if she did, how would she handle the public scrutiny? She's never been known for expertly managing media crises like a seasoned diplomat, nor has she shown much concern for the usual political playbook. If anything, her past actions suggest that she either disregards public outrage or simply refuses to engage with it. After all, this is the same woman who once wore a jacket emblazoned with the phrase, "I really don't care, do you?" A statement that could be interpreted as bold defiance or as a perfect summary of her general approach to public life. So if she didn't care before, why would she now? The most likely answer, she wouldn't. But that didn't stop people from imagining a world where Melania actually responded. Would she break her silence with a cryptic Instagram post? Perhaps a quote about ignoring negativity, something like "elegance is refusal," which could mean anything from "I'm above this nonsense" to "I refuse to deal with my husband's mess again." Or maybe, in an attempt to appear composed and graceful, she'd take the high road, releasing a carefully worded statement about respecting different opinions and embracing open discussion, while conveniently sidestepping the fact that her husband has built a career on aggressively silencing his critics. Whatever the case, Melania's usual silence only made the speculation more entertaining. Whether she chose to ignore it completely, respond in a way that added more mystery, or make a rare public statement, the world was watching, waiting to see if for once she would step into the conversation instead of standing just outside it.
It's unfortunate that she said tonight also in this interview that she wore that infamous jacket to go to Texas when it said, "I don't really care."
I'm going to play it. Let's play it.
Oh, okay,
Let's
sure.
play it and then we'll talk about it. Here it is.
I wore the jacket to go on the plane and off the plane, and it was for the people and for the left-wing media who are criticizing me, and I want to show them that I don't care. You could criticize whatever you want to say, but it will not stop me to do what I feel it's right.
The real spectacle wasn't Melania's reaction. It was the inevitable Category 5 tantrum brewing from a certain someone who treats any joke about his wife as if it were a direct attack on national security. It was only a matter of time before his all-caps fury erupted, complete with a scorched earth rant about washed-up Hollywood elites and a desperate attempt to convince the world that De Niro's career is failing bigly. Maybe he'd even throw in a wild, completely unnecessary claim that De Niro has always been jealous of him, because, let's be honest, not everyone gets the honor of sharing screen time with Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2. Meanwhile, Melania, she'd likely scroll past the chaos, shrug, and go back to her usual routine of expertly ignoring everything. If there's one thing she's mastered over the years, it's letting the world scream and spiral around her while she remains as unreadable as ever.
We have a protest of Robert De Niro yesterday. He's a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there. He got maggot
He got maggot yesterday. He got a...
Right on cue, Trump erupted like a bomb, unleashing an all-caps tirade filled with exclamation points and grievances. Predictably, he declared that Hollywood was a corrupt left-wing cesspool full of radicals plotting against him. No surprises there. He called De Niro's words disgusting, the media fake, and insisted that the entire entertainment industry was just jealous of his success. Trump has never handled criticism well, especially when it comes from celebrities. He loves being famous, and has even claimed that Home Alone 2 is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Coincidentally, the one that features his brief cameo. But when the spotlight isn't flattering, he simply cannot stand it. The irony of it all, Trump, who constantly mocks others, doesn't seem to recognize the humor in the situation or in himself. Instead of laughing it off, he launched into his usual angry monologue, reassuring his followers that Hollywood was dying. Even though the box office was thriving, he also called De Niro a washed-up failure, despite the fact that the actor continues to win major awards. And of course, because no Trump meltdown is complete without it, he threw in the classic "I might sue" threat. Over what? Who knows? But at this point, it was just another predictable piece of the Trump outrage machine at work.
Well, you and I have something in common, and we have both been immortalized on social media by our former president, Donald Trump. Yeah. We have, I think this might have been the first time he wrote about you. Robert De Niro, a very low IQ individual, has received he spelled two wrong, many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I watched him last night, truly believe he may be punch drunk, and then he says, at the end, he says, "Wake up, Punchy," he says to you. And that's not the only time, and he moved over to Truth Social. Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished, with his reputation now shot, must even use a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language. So disrespectful to our country. Now, in all fairness to the former president, is that true? Do you have to use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump? Or are you able to just kind of riff on and your thoughts on him?
Yeah,
A lawsuit would be classic Trump, pointless, dramatic, and entirely predictable. Even if it had no real legal basis, that wouldn't stop him. If there's an opportunity to file some papers, make a grand accusation, and claim that someone damaged his reputation or dared to mock him, he'll take it. After all, he's threatened to sue countless people, news outlets, and even entire organizations simply for making him look bad. So the idea of him suing Den because spelling names correctly is optional in Trump world for merely talking, completely within the realm of possibility. But here's the thing, Trump thrives on this kind of conflict, the outrage, the controversy, the back and forth insults. It's not just something he tolerates, it's something he craves. Every joke, every tweet, every critique feeds him. It gives him a fresh enemy to rage against, keeping the constant cycle of victimhood alive. To his supporters, every attack against him is proof that he's being unfairly targeted by the media, Hollywood, and the so-called elite establishment. Every insult becomes another reason to rally behind him, reinforcing the idea that he's the only one standing up against an endless tide of enemies. In a way, the entire situation isn't hurting Trump, it's fueling him. And as long as he has someone to be mad at, the show will go on.
House managers spoke about rhetoric, about a constant drumbeat of heated language. Well, as I'm sure everyone watching expected, we need to show you some of their own words.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. Well, you have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have.
Every single one of you.
Trump's entire brand is built on the illusion that he's an outsider fighting against the system, even when he was literally the most powerful man in the country. His political persona depends on the idea that he's always punching up, constantly battling the deep state, the fake news media, and of course Hollywood elites, even though he's been desperate for their approval for decades. He might rant about how comedians, actors, and talk show hosts disrespected the presidency, but deep down he loves the attention. Without the constant news coverage, Twitter feuds, and dramatic showdowns with celebrities, he would actually have to do the boring part of the job, governing. And let's be honest, policy work has never been as exciting to him as being the main character in a never-ending reality show. Trump has always been drawn to spectacle over substance. He doesn't just want power, he wants to be watched, talked about, and obsessed over. If there isn't a scandal or a fight happening, he'll find one, or create one himself. Because at the end of the day, being the center of the world's most chaotic drama has always been far more appealing to him than actually running the country.
Been dealing with the press a long time.
I think the political press is among the most dishonest people that I've ever met. These people back here, they're the worst. They are so dishonest. No, they're so dishonest. And by the way, some of the media is terrific, but most of it, 70%, 75%, is absolute dishonest, absolute scum. Remember that, scum. They're totally dishonest people.
The internet erupted with jokes and memes the moment the news broke. De Niro's face was plastered everywhere, often edited next to a stone-faced Melania, with captions joking about NDAs, secret contracts, and unspoken agreements. Everyone had an opinion. Was this a calculated move, or just De Niro being De Niro? Late-night hosts wasted no time turning it into comedy gold. Some joked that Melania deserved a hefty bonus for dealing with another 4 years of Trump-related chaos. Others suggested she was Googling countries without extradition just to get some peace and quiet. But despite all the buzz, the real mystery remained. What was Melania actually thinking? Was she furious, indifferent, or secretly entertained by the whole thing? No one could tell, and that uncertainty became part of the joke. The never-ending Hollywood versus Trump saga had taken yet another bizarre turn, proving once again that reality was often stranger than fiction. It felt like a lopsided fight, like a pro boxer against a reality TV contestant who refuses to stay down. But this time, Melania was caught in the crossfire. The former First Lady, who had perfected the art of ignoring everything, might not be able to dodge this one so easily. Whether she wanted to or not, she had just become part of the latest chapter in Trump world's never-ending drama.
That God will bless you, your family, that God will bless.
For years, Melania's silence has been her best defense. She has mastered the art of standing still, perfectly composed beside her very loud husband, avoiding the chaos that constantly surrounds him. But now, comedians have turned their jokes toward her, and her usual unreadable expression might not be enough to deflect the attention. People are speculating. Does she secretly support Trump's antics? Is she quietly planning her exit, or is she simply tuning everything out, waiting for reality to reset? Meanwhile, Trump being furious over a celebrity joke is just another day ending, and why? He has argued with Hollywood, athletes, department stores, and even weather maps. So it wouldn't be surprising if he soon holds a press conference declaring comedians to be enemies of the people, all while pointing at a bizarre chart that makes no sense. But no matter how red-faced and ranting he gets, the comedians won't stop. Hollywood will keep making fun of him just as it has for years. The only real question is whether they'll keep pushing the joke further or sit back and enjoy the spectacle of Trump losing his mind over it. As for De Niro, he has already won Oscars, cemented his legacy, and doesn't need Twitter's approval. But let's be honest, he probably enjoys seeing the reactions. Melania, on the other hand, remains in her usual state of detached indifference, as if she's telling herself she'll deal with it later. Or never. Trump has a few options now. He could unleash a nuclear-level social media meltdown so intense that it crashes his own Truth Social platform. Or he might start a completely new feud, perhaps accusing De Niro of being a secret Hollywood agent, or randomly suggesting that George Clooney rigged the Oscars. Whatever happens next, one thing is certain: the drama isn't over, not by a long shot.